Welcome to the Retirement's Next Steps podcast. I'm your host, Jill Templeton-Haislip, Global Real Estate Advisor and Senior Real Estate Specialist with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty DeGeorge Partners. This podcast is a valuable resource for retirees looking to connect with industry experts who can enhance your retirement experience. With so many companies, products, and services available, it can be overwhelming to know where to start. Let us help you navigate through it all and find the resources you truly need to make the most of your retirement years. As always, you can join us in person with each of our industry experts for the full presentation every month on the last Thursday at 4 p.m. Our office is located at 16872 East Avenue of the Fountains, Suite 103 in Fountain Hills, Arizona. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. Karen, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
So Karen Logan is partial owner of Guardian Training and Consulting. You're in business with your husband.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of understanding of who is Guardian Training and Consulting?
So like Jill mentioned, Guardian is my husband, Josh, and I, and we formed the company in 2018 after meeting at a local shooting range where we taught basic firearms and fundamentals and concealed carry and things like that. And we decided that we could do things a little bit differently, better than what we were. Well, it's funny, as you get to know us, for anyone that out there that's interested in learning more, obviously we have more to offer than just a quick, podcast, but we have got a lot of classes and stuff. But we just figured that because we were so limited in what we were able to teach at the gun range, that we knew with all of our experience that we could do something a lot more personal and in depth. So that's how Guardian was formed, basically. And then we just grew from there.
And yeah. I would say I've taken classes from you guys, and I do very much appreciate how personalized it can be. It can still be a group setting, but you guys make it very comfortable and not a, everybody, you're here and everybody's going to do this. It's interactive, and I think that makes people feel more comfortable. Would you agree?
Right. And what we pride ourselves on is every class is specific to, well, in regard to the private lessons, if Jill were to come to us and say, look, I just want to learn XYZ, that's what we teach. So we form the class to the student's needs or the client's needs. And, the concealed carry class is a little bit different because that is kind of structured, but we always open it up for questioning and questions, not questioning, going into police lingo, but that's structured. So there is some structure, there's safety and, things that we have to cover. But for the most part, it's what you're looking for specifically. We try to give that to you so that we're not wasting time, and it's not cookie cutter. It's very specific to that person.
Right. Yeah. And you had mentioned you guys do offer a large variety of different classes. Obviously, we're just on a short podcast, so we can't go into all the extensive stuff. But I think a lot of times people think that it's just guns. That's it. That's all you guys do. So touch a little bit more on what are some of the other offerings that folks can participate in and learn about.
Right. So our biggest draw right now is the concealed carry class, and it is a non-shooting class. It's mostly about Arizona law and legal. It talks about training that you can get from us or other places regarding hands-on things that we don't specifically do, but it's more about awareness and being aware of your surroundings. So we partner with the USCCA, which is the United States Concealed Carry Association, and they have a ton of training options if you become a member of theirs, because what we try to talk about most of all, not only the training beforehand of what to do before it happens, instead of sitting around afterwards going, oh my gosh, I wish someone would have told me that.
Yeah.
The United States Concealed Carry Association is more of an insurance. They're training, but they also have like an insurance policy where if you become a member, they will send an attorney out. So we talk a lot about the aftermath. There's no shooting at all whatsoever. It's just about being aware of your surroundings. We also go into less lethal options, like I mentioned before, learning how to fight hand-to-hand using batons, which are the expandable batons. It's just like a handheld thing. You can put that in your pocket, which I actually carry when I'm walking my dog. In the event we run into a javelina or a bobcat or
Oh, that's a good point. People automatically think other people, but
right.
We have wildlife.
Yeah, we have wildlife out here, coyotes. And so there are a lot of less lethal options that we go into in those classes. And like I said, most classes that we conduct, we always have an open question and answer portion where you can ask any questions that you have. And we always start our classes by saying, look, we don't want you to leave here with any questions. So don't think it's a stupid question, because there are no stupid questions. We're all here to learn. Let's get all the myths and things that you think you know, or you're not sure, or you heard it, in a movie, or you heard it on the news. Let's talk about it. So there aren't any questions with that. So we do private lessons, realtor safety, use of force scenario. It's like a simulated scenario-based training where we put you in an ATM robbery or home invasion, or just coming across some crazy lunatic out on the street. And they're not always shoot scenarios. Some of them are don't shoot, and de-escalation is a part of that. So we've got a lot to offer, and I'll make sure that everyone gets our website information so they can look up the specific things that we do. And
yeah, there's a wealth of information on your website going into very extensively everything that you guys can offer.
Right. And if you have questions, we get text messages all the time through our the Google ads and Facebook and our website. We'll get questions that come through all the time, and Josh and I are always on answering questions. So that's another thing that we offer, is if you're a client of ours and you take a class from us, we're always available. I mean, we might be in class, we might be on vacation, but we're always going to get to you at some point to answer your question. So you get that with us too. It's kind of 24/7 concierge-based service.
And I know you guys are based out of Fountain Hills, but where else do you go in Arizona?
So we can travel anywhere in the state. We travel anywhere in the country.
Yes,
as a matter of fact, Josh is in Texas right now. He's taking the class, and at the end of the month, which is going to be a quick turnaround for him, he's going back to Huntsville, Alabama, where he teaches the police department and SWAT team. And so we are available to travel across the globe, actually. We actually just got an inquiry from a trainer from a police department in Dubai, and is inquiring about our training, and they're interested in having us come out to train their police officers. So
that's huge.
We're not just a small. Thank you.
They are bigger than Fountain Hill.
We are worldwide.
We're very lucky to have you guys here. So that's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
So let's touch a little bit about who you and Josh are. You guys have very extensive backgrounds that we could spend out, and we appreciate and thank you guys for your service. But can you tell us a little bit about who you guys are, so that it helps people to understand that you're not just anybody that decided to start Guardian Training and Consultant?
Correct. This is not just a hobby for us. So I started my police career with the Chicago PD back in the 90s. I'm giving away my age. I can't believe how fast time flies. But I followed in my dad's footsteps and started the police academy in the 90s. And I worked there through 9/11, which was kind of a big deal for most of us that were old enough. I don't know, Jill, you probably also. Sometimes we'll meet folks and they're like, oh, I was in grade school. And we're like, oh, so you don't even really remember what happened. So after the Chicago PD, after 9/11, I decided I wanted to apply for the Air Marshal Service. So I flew around the world 1.9 million miles, protecting the aircraft from, becoming a weapon of mass destruction and causing any terroristic activities. And so through my journey, and a little personal background for me is I'm a breast cancer survivor. So when I was in the law enforcement side of the government, you can only take so much time off before they want you to come back. So I was kind of forced into a medical retirement, and I didn't want that as an option at the time. However, it ended up becoming a blessing in disguise, because I moved out to Arizona, where I met my now husband, Josh, who I own the company with. And his background is he was a Minot, North Dakota officer, and he was also
I laugh because it's so funny to hear him talk about when he was in North Dakota. Sorry.
Yeah, he always says Friesen's the reason, Minot, Friesen's the reason. So he was also in the Air Force up there. That's how he ended up in Minot. And after he got out of the Air Force, he became a Minot police department officer, and then he decided to move back home to Arizona. He went to high school in Gilbert, and he became a Chandler officer. And he also was a firearm instructor within the Chandler PD, as well as that's what I was doing when I was in the Air Marshal Service. Once I came out here, we met at a local gun range, like I mentioned before, just teaching basic firearms. And then, that's how we decided to leave. I was already gone from law enforcement, but I think it was easier for him to kind of see the path that I was on, and he decided to make the jump and leave himself. So now we're 100% entrepreneur all the time.
It's really 24/7.
Just ask an entrepreneur and they'll tell you the same thing.
Yes, but I do think it's really important for people to understand the background and where you guys are coming from. So thank you for sharing all of that with us. So we are at our Retirement's Next Steps workshop. So I know folks that are watching the podcast are interested in learning about some general safety tips for retirees. I'm sure this can go across all age range, but what can you share with us today?
So I think some of the basic things when you're talking about your home, keeping your doors locked, your gates locked. You don't want people trespassing into your yard or people who are just kind of milling around. You don't want to make that an opportunity for them. It opens the door, so to speak, for potential bad things to happen. So we always encourage people, even if you're home all day or you're not home, just to make sure you lock your doors and gates. Ring cameras. Ring cameras are great. We have them all around our house. So each side of our house is covered. We have access to our ring cameras on our phones. So anytime there's movement, so we have motion sensors, we have light sensors. So anytime there's motion, usually is a bobcat or a coyote, but we'll get an alert on our phone. So that's really big for us at our home. And I think for general being outdoors and outside of your home, just general awareness, being aware of your surroundings, having like a 21-foot or a 30-foot barrier where you're constantly kind of searching around. I mean, not to sound paranoid or anything,
but it's good to be aware.
I think there's that circle, right? There's a circle of, if there's somebody in your personal space, then that is a red flag to kind of like make sure that you're aware of people's behavioral cues and things like that.
So not being on my phone when I'm walking to my car.
Yeah, I'm guilty of it too. We're not perfect. Something can happen to me in a flash because I wasn't paying attention, but for the most part, like I'm doing right now, I'm looking out the window and I'm constantly scanning. And if you ask me what the manager of American is wearing, I can tell you she's got a black hat and a skirt on because I just saw her walk by. So it's things like that because we're trained observers, because of our past. And that doesn't go away. So you can kind of train yourself to be a little bit more observant and aware of your surroundings. And we teach that stuff too.
And we had touched on earlier, there's obviously a variety of different home security types of things that people could have. You guys teach the gun training, and you had touched on the baton. Are there other items that you would recommend that folks keep in the house for general safety items, or does that kind of cover it?
That pretty much covers it. I mean, we can talk about other tools that you can use to protect yourself if someone were in your home. I mean, we're talking a chair, a baseball bat. I mean, things of that nature. And there's more to it than just using a tool like that to protect yourself. You have to be in a situation where your life is being threatened or you're in fear of your life or safety, and making sure that whatever is happening, that you're going to come out of that unscathed. And so whatever you would need to use, and it starts in your mind, being ready for that, being ready to use force if you had to. Right. If somebody was thrusting that force upon you, you have to be ready to force it upon them. It's almost like a balance. It's like a scale. If they're up here, you've got to rise to the occasion. And if they're down here, you have to learn how to de-escalate. So it's a little bit of a dance, so to speak, but it's stuff that can be taught. And we talk about that a lot in our use of force scenario-based training.
And that's the simulator.
That's the simulator.
Talk a little bit more about that, because I haven't done it. I've seen other people do it, and it's quite impressive.
So the simulator is wonderful. We actually have it set up at our Guardian headquarters, which is right next to Sammy's Fine Jewelry, right across the street from Town Hall. And we can arrange it for you and 4 of your friends. So we say maximum of 5.
Okay.
because it's limited based on how many scenarios we can run through, but you can sit with your colleagues, your friends, your family, coworkers, and watch them go through scenarios. So you're not only learning yourself because you're going through it yourself, but you're learning by watching others and watching to see what types of things people are capable of doing and how you can react, how you should react. Maybe even making a mistake or two in the simulator is a tremendous wealth of knowledge because it teaches you what not to do and you're not doing it out in the real world. You're actually doing it in a simulator.
You've done that oops before.
Yes. And it's, I remember things happening to me in the scenario-based training when I was in the Chicago Police Academy like 30 years ago. So it stays with you and it helps you. It's almost like little baby steps, it just brings you to another level of awareness, which is what we're looking for.
Right. And that can be for any age range for the most part, right?
Correct.
Okay. With the simulator also, if you don't mind, I have a few more questions on that. You guys do people's blood pressure beforehand and afterwards. So tell us a little bit about why you do that. I think that's important.
It is. So we take everyone's resting heart rate before we put them in the scenario. And as soon as the scenario is over, we test it again to see the fluctuation. And sometimes we'll see 30 points difference. And what we're trying to do is recreate that the fight or flight reaction that you experience, and with the adrenaline and everything that's pumping, all the chemicals are floating through your body. We try to recreate that as much as possible because it's as realistic as you can get without actually being in the real scenario or the real life situation. And we compare that to when you're in you're in a CrossFit gym and they have you flipping tires and doing jumping jacks and getting your heart rate up. It's still not the same. Your heart rate is up, but the adrenaline and the cortisol and all the dump, that's not happening. But in the scenario-based training, that's added to what's happening to the reaction in your body, which is more realistic than just getting your heart rate up by doing jumping jacks and things like that. It's as real as it can get without having to go through the real thing.
Yeah. I know there's a few other classes that you guys offer. Is there anything else specific that you may recommend for retirees? I know you do a Stop the Bleed and things like that. Anything that you really want to encourage folks that, maybe travel a lot or, this is really focused on folks who are 55 years and older. So I want to make sure that they really know, hey, this is what I should come here for. You guys offer a wealth, but this is what you kind of push their way.
Well, we have a class. Well, you mentioned Stop the Bleed. And I think when we talk about older folks, and especially kind of thinking about my dad, sometimes the people are on blood thinners. And if you're around sharp knives or people who bike or hike we're in that's the world we're in out here in Arizona, and anything can happen. Any fall can happen. Even a, kid on a schoolyard playground could have an arterial bleed. And I think it's really important for people to understand that with a bleed, it takes a minute and a half, potentially a minute and a half to actually pass out. And within 3 minutes, you can actually bleed to death. So that's something I didn't know till I became a cop and actually saw it happen. And we didn't carry tourniquets or anything. So it was an eye-opening experience for myself. So once we started the company, we knew that was going to be a big part of our training. And we talk about packing wounds and wrapping wounds and applying pressure. So it's hands-on, and that's great. CPR, AED is always good, refresher. And we also do what's called a home security seminar and a home security inspection. So we can come out to your home, and it's based on the cost. You can contact us, but the cost is based on square footage. And what we do is we walk through your home. We talk about the soft, weak spots that a burglar or somebody who's intent to kind of do harm to come into your home. We talk about those areas and what you can do to harden them. We talk about the cameras, and we give you a comprehensive 30-page report on your property and your property lines. And we do a little bit of a background check, which is all open source intelligence. So if we could go to Google, we could go and find these things. So it just kind of gives you an idea of if somebody was intent to do harm to you or come into your home, that they can find those things easily. So that's something that we give to the client.
That's really powerful.
Yeah,
I encourage everyone to do that.
So we usually will gear that toward retirees because, let's face it, we get more vulnerable as we get older. Our bones aren't as strong, and we can't retain the muscle mass that we had when we were younger.
Yeah.
we're not as strong, and sometimes our minds are going. I can't remember where I leave my keys half the time, so I'm trying to make sure that I stay on it. But we usually talk about that at retiree seminars too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Tell us, what is the best way to get in touch with you and Josh?
So we have a handful of ways to get in touch with us. We have our phone number, which is 480-331-4192. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're not social media savvy, but you have internet, our easy website to remember is readytoday.org. So it's readytoday.org. And you can email us also at info@gtctrain.org, or you can stop by our office on the Avenue of the Fountains and leave us a note if we're not there, and we'll contact you. And that's pretty much it. Or contact someone like Jill and say, hey, I really want to get in touch with Karen and Josh.
Yeah,
she can lead you to us.
And you guys have a really great newsletter that you send out with kids updates on the different classes that you're doing and helpful tips and stuff like that. And I think that that's good for people to sign up for as well. Even if they're not ready to jump in and take a class yet, you just get some more information.
That is a good option. If you go to our website and you are inclined to get our newsletter, you can put in your email and sign up, and we'll send you a newsletter. I think it's a couple times a month we send something out. So.
And real quick, I want to touch on, you guys do a foundation. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. So we were approached by the chamber a few years ago by a small group in town that collected money, raised funds for the first responder Christmas tree that goes up every year on the Avenue of the Fountains, and it lights up at the Stroll in the Glow, which is one of our big events here in town. And we weren't sure if we could take something like that on, but we immediately started a 501c3 called Guardian First Responders and thought, we have to help them collect money. We have to help them raise funds. And not only does it bring attention and bring, the love and support to all of our first responders, but in addition to that, any money that's left over from the tree, every year we have to pay for the tree to be put up. We send any leftover funds to organizations that help first responders with PTSD or with the loss of a first responder in a family. We can help families out by sending them funds if they need it, if, in an emergency, if they needed some help. We do everything we can to spread the wealth and help, and everything is completely transparent on our Facebook page. So if you're interested in contributing or donating to Guardian First Responders, we hope to have a Christmas in July event. I don't have any details on it just yet.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We're going to let that out to the public here soon. So
wonderful. Well, we appreciate that you guys do that. And they are such vital parts of Fountain Hills. Karen and I are on the board of directors for the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce. And I just appreciate that they really dove into Fountain Hills and give a lot back here. So thank you for being here. And go ahead and give us your website and your phone number one more time, please.
Yes. So our website, if you go to readytoday.org, you'll find our website. We have all of our upcoming classes. You can click on Contact Us, and it will send you to info@gtctrain.org, and you can ask us any questions or if you have any inquiries. And our phone number is 480-331-4192.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Woo!
Yay!
Thank you for listening to another episode of Retirement's Next Steps podcast. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at 303-204-4432 or via email at jill@degeorgepartners.com. If you would like to attend one of our Retirement's Next Steps workshops, you can find the schedule on our website at Templeton-Haislip.com. Make sure to subscribe to Retirement's Next Steps YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Wishing you a happy and fulfilling retirement. We look forward to connecting with you again soon.